I didn't ride for him, to be honest. I did the Olympic Games in 2000, and we got a bronze medal. And Sean Yates rang me up after that, he was the manager, and asked me if I'd like to ride for Linda McCartney, which I said yes. I can still remember the day Sean Yates rang my landline, which was the day before mobile phones. Yeah, I was ecstatic. You know, I remember he offered me £35,000, which is a lot of money then. You know, we were 18, not a lot, 21 by then, 20. And yeah, he said you have to come live in France, and I drove down in my Fiesta in January. I moved into a flat down there, and then I had a month's training down there, and we came back to the team launch in January. Russ was there, and it folded within a couple of hours. And, I was in a room with Mark Scanlon, junior world champion. So I can remember, I forget who it was, Johnny Evans, I think, was a Welsh brother, came to the room and said there's about 400 boxes of FXA on and oakley stuff in the hallway, try and take whatever you can. We all printed up and arrived, and so we all raided these boxes of clothes, you know, to take back with us. And the idea at that point for a lot of them riders was to flog it, you know, make some money out of it, because everyone was promised, you know, their salaries, and people had bought houses, rented apartments, things like that off the back of it. But and I just remember, you know, how the panic in everyone trying to ring around and get teams. Max Chandry was there, and a few other guys had just arrived from Australia, because the team had raced down under. And that was the end of that. Most of us went our separate ways, and Matt Stevens went back and worked for Marks and Spencer's. Russ, I think, went to Italy, didn't you?
France,
yeah. I came back and I was lucky enough to join the British track squad and started racing with them again.
So for you, I guess at least there was a bit of a parachute.
Yeah, I think it worked out. You know, I think it was as horrible as it was a tiny year, but it worked out very well, because you know there was no good time for a team to go. Yeah, I mean, it was what it was, you know.
So I guess after that sort of slightly faltering start, 2002, we were all around another year. And
yeah, well, I went off and rode for the British squad, and we went to like race in France and Italy and things, and I rode a race called the Circuit de Mines, and I went to a break at one stage with Jackie Duran. There was two of us up the road, and my goal was just to rip his legs off. You know? And I didn't care about the stage finish, because I was, you know, I'd grown up watching this guy on the telly. He won Flanders and Paris Tour and took the Yellow Tour. And that was what secured me a contract with France Séjour, that breakaway, because Jackie got to, as most French people do, you know, it's more about what happened in the race than the result. And it didn't take all that night. He must have been saying that this English guy was really strong, and so Yvonne Malio signed me that race back of it. So it worked out for me, unfortunately. I drove back down to France the following year to start again.
not a bad kind of, if we call that your proper debut, yeah, not bad first year in the Pro Peloton.
That was terrible. It was a different world back then. And I think when I think back to racing in those years, that my early years as a professional were really tough. Just to finish a race was an achievement really for me. And a lot of that was to do with you know, stepping up a level. You know, since I was a child, or since I was a teenager when I started cycling, I'd always had this sort of perception of I was really confident, self-belief, and you know, mature, as an athlete, way more mature for my age as an athlete, but not as a person. I was pretty different. When I hit the programs, that all dissipated, and it was completely opposite. I was racing against my peers and my heroes, and the people I hero worshipped, and had pitched on my reward. And I felt completely out of place, and I didn't deserve to be there. And so, you know, I'd be sitting at the back of the peloton all the time. And, you know, Musa would ride up beside me, or you know, my first year, I rode Marco Pantani and Maris Palladium. And it was just, there was no thought process in my head at that point of going to get a result. I know my place, and I'll sit at the back, you know. Yeah, and I don't know. I think the youth in me came out. You know, I spent so many years in many ways a big fish in a small pond in the UK, dominating juniors at my level, and then you know, junior world champion, and then going straight into the elite track squad at 18. I was a Commonwealth Games Connor as a junior, and I was riding with my British heroes, if you like, Johnny Clays and Rob Taylor, Colin Sturgis. But then to go to that level, you know, I knew my place. You know?
What's different? Because obviously, Circuit de Nîmes is a good bike race.
Yeah, when I was in the British jersey, I had a different sort of sense of pull realistically. But once I went to France and that, I was just starstruck every time driving around. And I think back then, it's not like it is now where the turnover of British professionals is really high now. And back then, to turn professional or make it to a professional team, there was very few of us. Jeremy Hunt, David, Chris Baldwin, and before that, and lots of people that I considered better bike riders than all of us had missed the boat. Like sort of Matt Mellin, and he was basically did have a lot of careers there, but certainly didn't fulfil his potential, if you like. Chris Walker's, David Rayners, they were surpassed lots of us as bike riders in terms of talent, but never got the same opportunities that we give them now or was given. So, and I was always aware of that, really. I knew what I was good at, and that was the track, but my road confidence took a long time to come. And I rode the Tour Lavalier that year. I think that's probably why I got second in the pro. Second on another stage.
Third on the stage.
Yeah. I was racing against people my own age and that. I was always okay. But the minute I was such a fan, I was such a pervert of the sport as well. And then, I can remember my first Commonwealth Games sitting at the dinner table. Chris Lillywhite said to me, "Go on, tell us all what shoes we were wearing through the early 90s." I think that went against me for the rest of my life. They never made me forget about that, that's what I was like. I think in my childhood, I latched onto cycling as a comfort for me, really, and I absorbed it like a sponge. I was really observant, and I could tell. I had pictures all on my walls. I was an old child, very old teenager living in central London in the early 90s into cycling, on the council estate. And but it was something. And I'm not really a fan of the sport now. I watch a little bit of it, but I'm not. It'd be a bit odd if I was. Probably pictures of Tally Gash on the wall and stuff. But I was that's what I was like. And there was a lot of us like that. We go to junior races and remember the people are still friends with today. Jamie Allen, Janto Barker, and we remember our first World Championships in Valkenburg in '98. Oscar Cummings won. We would be out training the days before, and we'd see like Rob Sorensen's just ridden past. We'd turn around and chase after him. Forgetting about the fact we got a World Championship in 3 days' time. We were just little perverts in sport. And Janto was from the same area as Jeremy Hunt from Vanessa at the time. So Janto turned up with half of Jeremy Hunt's wet bag. He'd have a rain jacket and these crash shorts stitched together and Benesto shorts. You got Nalini overshoes, rainproof overshoes from Jeremy Hunt. We'd all be swapping bits and pieces. And Steve Cummins would turn up at races with Gatton gloves that he got off Chris Baldwin, and that's what it was like then. All these hand-me-downs, But we all loved it so much, and to this day, I suppose we still love it. It's given us everything.
It's just that I was just observing it almost in the same sentence as you said. You don't like cycling anymore.
Well, it's such a contradiction, and because cycling is so sort of ingrained in the fabric of my life. My dad was a professional cyclist, my son's world champion now. It's just there, it's always there. It's like as much as you try and push it away at times, and it's like anything. When you're so sort of wrapped up in a sport and it's given you everything and it's part of who you are, you can't. I've always blamed it for the bad things that happened in my life, and I've always been quick to label cycling as that's the reason. If I wasn't a bloody cyclist, then it wouldn't have happened, But I've sort of come full circle on that and started, that's sort of I think people go through periods of mental health and things like that, and so cycling was my sort of whip, if you like, to blame everything that bad that happened to me on cycling. But now where I'm at now, I kind of see cycling in a different light. I was so excited to get my bike today about riding tomorrow. I haven't swung my leg over a bike for 3 years. And the last time I rode my bike was quite depressing actually. And it was in Mallorca. I rode Lance Armstrong, Jan Ulrich up Sacalobra. And I had the record at one time on that, sort of mid-19 minutes or something back in 2013 for the Giro. I think it's a lot faster now. And it took me an hour and a half to get up this thing. And me and Lance were the last two up here, holding onto the car. And that day I thought I'd never ride a bike again. This is ridiculous. But the last 3 years that's gone away now, and I'm actually looking forward to it, Really?
Nitty-gritty the route for tomorrow then?
Well, it is what it is. I've raced around a lot around here. There's always a stage or two of Britain around here over the years, and they were always the hardest stage of the race. Yeah. I think the last time I was here was the start of the stage in 2012. I actually turned around in the middle of the road at the stage and went back for Cav, who was the yellow jersey that day. But there's another story to that. Yeah. I'll tell the story because I got blamed for going out the piss the night before, and that's why I turned around. That didn't happen. We had the yellow jersey. Cav won stage in Blackpool, and Jeremy and Bernard Eisel decided to go out on the lash that night, the night before this stage. And so we had the yellow jersey special defended the next day. They had 5 riders because Cav's in yellow. And after 20 or 30k, they were 4 minutes down, Bernard and Jeremy Young. And it was just me and someone, Luke Rowe, I think, were riding the front. So I threw my toys at the pram because we could have won this race, and I went back to Cav and made a protest. But most things that I did like that ended up backfiring on me. So and then I went home that night, fuck in the heart. Disrespected the Tour of Britain out there. And the Daily Mail ran an article about it. That was the beginning of the end.
I was just going to say what people about the Daily Mail, but did they have anything to say to you?
Me? Oh, you've done what I mean.
Back to 2003, I'm kind of curious to understand about, as you did start to find your feet, looking back through your results, those first few years was individual time trials was where you started to, I guess, get a name for yourself as a bike rider. But how did it feel for you in terms of, did you have to, in order to overcome that kind of starstruckness?
Well, I always came back to the track. That was my safe haven, my comfort zone, where I could flourish and build my confidence. So the road in those years was always about. In those years, it was always about getting a rider in a professional team to facilitate a track program. So the track program didn't have to pay to go race races. So they quite often try and put riders in a professional team. Rob Howes went to Cofidis, Steve Cummins went to Landau Credit, Paul Manning went to Landau Credit. The only one who did was Brian Steele. He'd stay at home and race, and so a few of them stayed at home that sort of had families and that. Chris Newton just missed the boat really by then had a family, but he was on the fringes going across to Europe at some point because he was that good. We'd always come back to the track program with a view to make the team suit faster. So 2003, the World Championships, I had a good year that year on the road. I started to come out myself a little bit. I think I came in the second group of Flanders and was in the front group of Roubaix and crashed. And then I won the World Championship in Stuttgart, individual suit. But Chris Bourman had started helping me that year. He'd had 2 years in retirement and come out of retirement and said, look, we've got this kid who's quite good, can you help him? And so I started working closely with Chris in 2003. And my performance, he gave me a lot of confidence, And then from that, he suggested I go to Credit Agricole the year after, which I did, going into Olympic year. And then obviously Olympic year was where the first defining moment of my career and won the individual suit.
Do those kind of achievements on the track, do they carry weight within the pro peloton on the road?
They did a little bit, but they didn't reflect the results for me. Certainly in 2005. I became a dad that year after the Olympics, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd achieved a sort of childhood ambition really, because the first race I ever watched on the telly was the '92 Barcelona Olympics, when Chris beat Jens Lehmann on the Lotus bike, and I could just remember being captivated by it and just thinking I'd love to do that one. And then I won that event 12 years later with Chris Bourman trackside with me. And I didn't know what to do with myself for months after that. And I re-signed with Credit Agricole and the view to go on the road. That was a natural pathway. Leave the track behind now and go on the road. And I wasn't enjoying being in the French team at that point, and I'd just become a dad. So there was lots of things going on in my life, and I didn't really know how to train as a road rider. And I said, we went to race as a track, and I always had confidence in the track program behind me and the stuff, the riders and the language. And so 2005 was a write-off. But I got my act together towards the end of the year. But that was when I came back to the track. I get sent to the tour. I came back to the Great Britain team, and Simon Jones said to me, let's concentrate on the World Time Trial Championship. We'll give you a bike, everything. So I whenever it was the most comfortable environment I was in. And I think I got 7th worlds in the individual time trial. And the 5 ahead of me went down in Operation Puertos 6 months later. So I probably should have got the medal. But that's what it was like then, and I think also that was part of what we probably realised we were dealing with in those years, that the sport was, was still very kind of post-98 dealing with issues.
There was one thing in 2005 when I was looking through the results there. You finished the Grand Tour for the first time, so you finished the Giro that year.
Yeah.
And like,
Finished it.
but yeah, well, there was a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about. One is for somebody who defines themselves by winning. Is there?
I don't think I did define myself by winning. No, it's a misconception. I never really did. I think winning became standard at a certain point on the track. It became standard, so there's no second place. And then later on, later years, you know, once I realised my potential on the road and fear more than anything, losing my job, I obviously set a precedent in winning, and then winning became the standard, and there was no second place. But I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't say enjoyed it, and that's a strange thing to say that. I mean, I enjoyed the process. I knew nothing more, and it's like my own life now. You know, I fell off the wagon for a couple of years, and you know, went to all sorts of places in my head, and did lots of things I shouldn't be doing, and in retirement, and I've kind of realised now to tap into a lot of my own, you know, kind of skills and qualities from my race stage, you know, which was, you know, being regimented, having a routine, and not necessarily a focus to aim at something, but just, you know, kind of I'm all or nothing, really, whatever I'm doing. You know, if it's smoking 100 fags a day, or you know, or not, and that's what I like. And that serves me well, you know, doing it in the best possible way. And when I'm not doing that, as I was in my cycling career, when I stopped at the end of the season, I wouldn't, let's look back on the bike for the focus, and that's why I liked having these big goals that were far away, and that's why I would always hit these goals, because I'm great at the day in, day out process stuff and things. But when I actually completed it, there was no enjoyment. There was enjoyment because it justified the process. But and the other thing with Sky is, well, we always we sort of trained to leave the emotion away from it, and it was always on to the next thing. So
you were trained.
Well, we were pretty much, yeah. We were just told not to enjoy it, you know. That's straight, yeah, we brainwashed in many ways, you know, but that was how we had repetitive success, you know. And I think the thing I realised after I won the tour was I came back to the country, if you like, and what was going on, and you know, the fame that came with it and all that, and I kind of enjoyed that for a bit with no goal, you know, just won the tour, the Olympics, Paralympics, Roland Dover that year, and I came back to training camp in January, you know, having received the knighthood and sports president of the year and all that, and it was like, right, you're way off the mark now where you were this time last year, Brad, so it looks like Froomey's, you know, he's had a good winter and he's going to be a lead, so you know, it took my eye off the ball, and that's kind of how it is, and you know, so that was a realisation that really, that, you know, the minute you take your eye off someone else willing to take your place, and the sport doesn't really stop, and there's no, you know, I think that's why I got such a lot of admiration for the likes of Froomey and Grind, how they came back year after year and did that. I could never do that. You know, you'd lose me for 6 months after something like that.
Was that it?
I don't know what it was. I'm still working that bit out. I think a lot of it was. I mean, I look back and I was a very different person as well. You know, and I had come back, I was quite eccentric, and you know, looked like a rock and roll star. And I was very different when I spoke. It was quite contentious. I swore a lot, and I get drunk. And it was a way of hiding in public. Like this veil, you know, as a costume.
Was that conscious though?
No, it wasn't conscious. No, I didn't realise that now looking back. And that was an insecurity and self-worth issues, you know, which you know I've dealt with the last few years that have come through root from childhood. And cycling's the only thing that gave me confidence. So cycling's the only thing that gave me confidence, and I could flourish at that. And that's why I struggled when I went to the pro peloton, because I was overawed and overwhelmed by my peers, because I felt, you know, inferior to them. And that obviously changed over the years as I got better and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was a fuck up basically, you know, from childhood. But through cycling, finding cycling, I was able to channel that, you know, that whatever it was, and come out the other side of it, and it served me well. But not recognising at the time, when I retired and left my own devices, you know, I spiraled pretty quickly, but it wasn't recognisable to the outside world. Still on Eurosport, still in the back of the motorbike, being me, you know, and I had my knowledge of cycling, so I could, you know, come across as quite manic and funny and things like that. But off the bike was a different story. You know, I think we're all guilty of that at times, and people in different industries and whatever walk of life we're in. So, fortunately, I can recognise that now. I've got clips to go back and, you know, I've done all this because Lance put me through therapy in America, and I see tends to
You signed pretty hard on that.
Well, yeah, he paid for it, so but no, it's really interesting, you know. It's hard looking at yourself, coming to terms with yourself, and not ignoring it. Because I have a lot of behaviour patterns and traits that I never understood you know, and I was like one or the other, you know, and that's okay, but I've got to recognise that, and that's why. But it's a lot of the main thing that I spoke about it a lot. The main thing that really comes down to is I was very insecure as a person through my childhood and things like that, and cycling was the only thing that ever gave me confidence. But I didn't like the competition within cycling, you know. Like, I like the fall out of fruit, you know, I didn't have that very well. It was my fault, a lot of it. The confrontation, very anti-confrontational, and I didn't like, you know, being challenged. You know, I gave up in the final of the Commonwealth Games in 2002 against Barry McGee. You know, he got on my patch in the final. He just won a stage in the tour. I beat before I went into the final. I just turned that around a year after in Athens because Chris Baldwin tracked on. He gave me confidence. So a lot of that was not having a father figure in my life as well, and having the strength of that stuff. But there's many other things. You know, it's, you know, without making this too dark, you know, it's all contributes to why I was great doing certain things if I got back together.
Also,
I didn't know what your first question was. I just got